In this video, we will learn about the Parliament of India, and after that, we will look at the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. And this will be a fully explained video. Full explanation will be given. These are short notes for mains, and it comes in GS paper 2 in Polity. This will be very helpful to you during your mains preparation, as these are short notes and you can revise the important points very quickly and again and repeatedly. So first of all, I will tell you that this is our new Parliament building, which is being set to open in 2022. Bhumi Pujan has been done by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the lion capital, which is mounted on top of the building, as you can see here, this golden part is has been inaugurated. It is the weight of the lion capital is 1,200 kgs, and it is made up of bronze. The four lions are the symbol of the lion capital. Are there on the lion capital facing four directions, and it has been taken from the Sarnath land capital, which is a symbol of King Ashoka, and Sarnath is few kilometers away from Varanasi. So this land capital is of the weight of land capital atop the new parliament building is 1,200 kgs. So and the new parliament building is being made by Tata Constructions. So now we'll move on to these were all the current affairs. Now we'll move on to the static portion, and let's move on to the static portion and know what is Parliament. So first, what is Parliament? The Parliament of India is the supreme legislative body of the Republic of India. The Parliament is composed of the President of India and the two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So the Parliament of India is the supreme legislative body and of the Republic of India, and it is composed of the three. There are only three parts of the Parliament, that is President. The two houses are Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So all these are only the parts of the Parliament. It is the supreme legislative body. It legislates laws and executes it also. So there are also you can take that in Parliament there are you can see that in Parliament there is the Prime Minister as well as the ministers in the cabinet, but they are also part of the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So this is what is Parliament in India. Now let's move on to the next slide. And this Parliament legislates laws which are in the central list as well as the concurrent list, and the residuary powers lies with the President. The emergency power also lies with the President. The residuary power lies with the central government, that is the Parliament, and the emergency powers lies with the President. So, and it can also make laws on the state list, but only if the state requests the Parliament to do so, then only. So we'll move on to the next slide. What is legislative body? The main work of legislative body is to create new laws and amend old laws. So that is what legislative body is. That is the main work of legislative body is to create new laws and amend old laws. So legislature may be of two types. Our parliamentary system has been taken from the British parliamentary system. So in case of Indian parliamentary system, it is bicameral in nature, but in many other countries it is unicameral. So what is unicameral legislature? Unicameral legislature is a system in which there is only one house. And in case of India, which is bicameral, a system in which there are two houses, that is the Union Legislature of India called Parliament is bicameral, that is composed of two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So these are the two houses of the Parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And the new Parliament building which is being constructed, it has more members in it has a seating capacity of more members in Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, and the joint sitting will be done in the Rajya Sabha. So all these are the provisions in the new Parliament building. Now we will move on to the next slide, as we know what is unicameral and bicameral legislature. Now in India, in many of the states, there is a unicameral legislature, that is the only legislative assembly exists. But the states can request the state can request the central government to form a legislative council, and in India there are some states in which legislative council also exists. So in those states there is a bicameral legislature, but in other states where only the legislative assembly is present, there is only unicameral legislature. But as we go to the Parliament, it is a bicameral in nature in India, and it has two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So let's move forward. So what is Lok Sabha? Lok Sabha is the lower house and is the body of representation of people. So it is the lower house of the Parliament. Lok Sabha is the lower house of the Parliament. It is the body of representation of people. Members of Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people who are eligible to vote. So in our country, minimum age required to cast vote in the election is 18 years old. So members of Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people who are eligible to vote. That is, in our country, any person who is 18 years above can take part in the election, can cast their vote in the elections. So whatever there are electoral constituencies which are formed during elections, and each and every party nominates its candidate who will take part in the election from that constituency, and whatever the candidate the public prefers, they can cast their vote for that candidate. So it is the lower house and is the body of representation of people. That is why it is known as Lok Sabha. So now we will move on to further slides. So the elections are done once in 5 years. So normally once in every 5 years you can vote your favorite candidate for the Lok Sabha. So elections are done every 5 years, and until and unless there is a no confidence motion against the government in the parliament in the Lok Sabha, or the government falls due to the no confidence motion, or the support is withdrawn by members of parliament, and the government has to resign, or the prime minister has to resign. So until and unless this is not the case, normally once in every 5 years you can vote for your favorite candidate for the Lok Sabha. Now after that, the minimum qualifying age for becoming the member of the Lok Sabha is 25 years. That is anyone who wants to contest elections, that is stand in elections from their constituency, has to be 25 years of age. Then only he can stand for elections, and he has to attain an age of 25 years. Then only he can stand for elections, and he has to be a member. He has to be a citizen of India. Then only he can stand for elections. So this is the case in terms of Lok Sabha. Now maximum strength of Lok Sabha can be 552. Currently we have 545 members. 2 seats are reserved for Anglo-Indian, and they are nominated by the President of India. But I think this provision has been removed now. Now the President of India doesn't nominate any member from the Anglo-Indian community. But still, the number of seats in the Lok Sabha are 552. It has not been increased because delimitation has not been carried out in the states. And still the number of seats have been till 1926 they have been frozen to 552. So they after 1926 only, I think it will be increased. And so now we will move forward. Some more facts about Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha elects one of its own members as its presiding officer, and she is called the speaker. So among all the members of the Lok Sabha, they have to decide. The election takes place, and the members elect their speaker. That is, speaker is always from there is a convention. It is not written in the constitution, but there is a convention that the speaker is always from the majority party, that party which is in power in the Lok Sabha, or the majority or the party from which the prime minister has formed the government. So he's the presiding officer, and the deputy speaker is always from the opposition party. It is just a convention. It is not written in the constitution. So Lok Sabha is not a permanent body. The term of every Lok Sabha member is 5 years, and again re-election takes place. So this is a truth, that it is not a permanent body, and it is a dynamic body, and the term of every Lok Sabha member is 5 years, and again re-election takes place. So after that, political and the members of Lok Sabha get many perks and facilities, salary of member of parliament, as well as many perks and facilities which are decided by the parliament only. So after that, political party who secures majority seats, that is 272 plus in case of Lok Sabha, gets the opportunity to give the name of its leader to the President of India for the appointment of Prime Minister, and the President appoints that person as the Prime Minister. He has to take an oath in front of the President of India, and then he becomes the Prime Minister of India. That is the leader of the majority party is the Prime Minister of India. If he is nominated by the majority party and the name is given to the President, then the leader of the majority party is the Prime Minister, becomes the Prime Minister of India. This is how the election takes place in India. Now we will move on to the next slide. Now we'll look at what is Rajya Sabha. So in case of Rajya Sabha is the upper house and is the council of state. So as we see the name Rajya, so Rajya is the state, so it is the council of states, it is the upper house. Members of Rajya Sabha are not elected directly by the people. That no elections takes place, and the people don't vote for the members of Lok Sabha. For the members of Rajya Sabha, and there are and so they are not directly elected by the people. They are elected indirectly by the legislative assemblies of the various states. So we can see here that the people elect their representatives, and they go to the legislature in case of, that is the MLAs in case of state elections, and they go to the legislative assembly and they represent the people who have elected them, and then the members of these legislative assemblies elect the members of Rajya Sabha. So the members of Rajya Sabha are indirectly elected by the people of India. So they are not elected directly by the people, they are elected indirectly by the legislative assemblies of the various states. Now we'll move forward. Every state is allotted with certain number of electing Rajya Sabha members. That is, according to the population, the number of seats of a state in the Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha has been decided. So for
For example, if we case then the large for example, the state with the largest population will get the most seats in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and the state with the lowest population will get the least seats. So I think Sikkim has the lowest population, and it has the least seats in Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, and Uttar Pradesh has the highest number of seats in Lok Sabha. So as we can for example, if we'll take one state, the example of one state, for example, Jharkhand. So Jharkhand was a state which was formed on 15 November 2000, and the number of Lok Sabha seats from Jharkhand are 14, as well as the number of Rajya Sabha seats are 6. So there are only 14 seats for Lok Sabha and 6 seats for Rajya Sabha in Jharkhand. So it is done according to the population of the state. The seats are allocated, and this process of allocation of seats is given in the constitution. This process of allocation of seats is given in the Constitution of India, that how these seats will be allocated, and as we know, so it is written here, states with high number of population and large areas like UP have more representations than small states like Goa. So it is a truth that states who have higher population will get more representation, because the elected members have to represent a higher population. So absolutely there will be more seats. So, and this allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha to the states and union territories is in the fourth schedule of the constitution. So in the fourth schedule of the constitution, if you look at the fourth schedule of the constitution, it is and the articles 4 and 80, it deals with the allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha to the states and the union territories. That is, the articles 4 and 80 deal with the allocation, fourth schedule of the constitution, and the articles 4 and 80 deal with the allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha to the states and the union territories also. So this is what the fourth schedule of Indian constitution deals with. And so the states with high number of population and large area like UP have more representation than small states like Goa. Now Rajya Sabha is a permanent body, and 1/3 of its members retire every 2 years. So Rajya Sabha, as we know, it is a permanent body, and because it is not directly elected by the people, it is indirectly elected by the legislative assemblies of the states. So it is a permanent body, and also 1/3 of its members retire every 2 years. That is, after every 2 years, 1/3 of its members retire. So the minimum qualifying age for becoming the member of Rajya Sabha is 30 years. In case of Lok Sabha, it is 25 years, but in case of Rajya Sabha, it is 30 years. The Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So this is a very important point. That and I will tell you one more thing, that recently the election of President of India is going to take place, and there are two candidates. That is, first one is Draupadi Murmu, and the second one is Yashwant Sinha. So this is the election of the president. Then the election of the president, there is a procedure of election of the president. I will describe it in the other videos, but in case of vice president, such election process is not followed. That means that the process which is followed in the election of the president is not similar in case of vice president. It is a different process. So the Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. That is, he is only the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, which means whoever will be the Vice President of India will also be the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So chairman of the Rajya Sabha is just like the post of Speaker of Lok Sabha. So as there is the post of Speaker of Lok Sabha, there is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He performs similar duties. The Vice President is elected by the members of both the houses of parliament. That is, Vice President is elected by the members of both the houses of parliament, but that means that the members of both houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, elect the Vice President of India. And in most cases, the Vice President is from the opposition party. But it is just a convention. She can also be from the ruling party. But the Vice President is elected by members of both the houses of parliament. That is both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. You have to remember this. This is a very important point. Now we'll move on. As we saw earlier, the maximum strength of Lok Sabha is 552 members. The maximum strength of Rajya Sabha is 250 members. But currently we have 245 members. 12 Rajya Sabha members are nominated by the President from persons who have earned distinctions in the fields of literature, art, science and social service. So currently there are 245 members in the Rajya Sabha. The maximum strength is 250 members, and 12 Rajya Sabha members are nominated by the President from persons who have earned distinction in the fields of literature or art or science or social service. So these every time 12 members are nominated by the President. So out of the 250 members, 12 members are nominated by the president who have done special work or who have earned distinction in the fields of literature, art, science and social service. So members of Rajya Sabha do not represent any constituency like the members of Lok Sabha. They represent a particular state or union territory. As they are indirectly elected by the members of Legislative Assembly of States, so there are no constituencies they are not elected according to the constituency. They are elected according to a particular state, and they represent a particular state and union territory. That is, if the Lok Sabha member, or that is, if the for example, if the Rajya Sabha member is from the state of Jharkhand, then he will represent the state of Jharkhand. There are 6 Rajya Sabha seats in Jharkhand, so the members of Legislative Assembly will give their votes, and they will indirectly elect the members of the Rajya Sabha from Jharkhand. There are 6 seats, so these 6 people will represent a particular state, that is the state of Jharkhand. Or if they are from a union territory, they will represent the particular union territory. They don't represent a particular constituency, that is an electoral constituency. So this is a very important fact. You have to keep this in mind. After that, as we move on to the next slide, Rajya Sabha enjoys few special powers under the constitution. Like, Rajya Sabha is given the power to decide by a resolution supported by 2/3 majority the question of setting up of an all India service. So this is a special power of the Rajya Sabha, like that if Rajya Sabha can decide whether a new all India service can be set up or not. That is, Rajya Sabha is given the power to decide by a resolution. A resolution has to be passed, and it has to be supported by 2/3 majority. So then only there will be a setting of an all India service. The Rajya Sabha can pass a resolution by 2/3 majority of its members for declaring a state list subject as a subject of national importance. This is also a special power of the Rajya Sabha. First, an all India first setting up of an all India service, and second, subject in the state list can be declared as subject in the national list if the Rajya Sabha members pass a resolution by 2/3 majority. So subject in the state list can come into the central list, and the center can pass laws according to whatever the center thinks. So whatever the center feels that is necessary or in favor of the center. So these are the 2 special powers of the Rajya Sabha, that is setting up of an all India service, and also the state list subject as a subject of national importance of the or the central list for declaring a state list subject as a subject of national importance. But in both these cases, a resolution has to be passed by 2/3 majority. Now, these powers are not given to the Lok Sabha members, only to the Rajya Sabha members. Then, as we move forward, by virtue of Article 88 of the Indian Constitution, every Union Minister and the Attorney General of India shall have the right to speak in and otherwise take part in proceedings of either house. That is, every Union Minister, every Minister of India, that is every Union Minister, that is the not all the member of parliaments. The member of parliaments are the members of Lok Sabha and members of Rajya Sabha. So they cannot take part in all, and they cannot sit in the proceedings of both the houses. But every minister, that is the prime minister as well as the ministers in their cabinet. That is, the prime minister gives allots portfolios to the ministers, which he tells the president that there are various portfolios of the prime minister, and he assigns these portfolios to his different ministers like finance, road transport, highway, aviation, then all these IT, defense, then these are the portfolios, and telecom, broadcasting. So these are the portfolios, and the prime minister allocates these portfolios according to his whatever he feels right, according to his necessities, to different ministers. So these ministers can take part in the proceedings of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. They can sit in proceedings of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and also the Attorney General of India can take part in both the sitting of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. He is the highest law officer of the country. As we all know, Attorney General is the highest law officer of the country, and he fights a case for the Union of India. So cases for the Union of India, and represents Union of India in the Supreme Court or the High Courts. He is the highest law officer of the country, and so by the virtue of Article 88 of the Indian Constitution, every Union Minister and the Attorney General of India shall have the right to speak in and otherwise to take part in the proceedings of either house. So they can speak in either house, they can take part in either house, or they can sit in the proceedings of either house, and they have the right to speak in either house. But this power does not entitle him or her to the power to vote on an issue in the house. She is not a member of. So this power doesn't entitle him or to power him or the power to vote on an issue. That is, they cannot vote the member of, if he is a member of Lok Sabha, then he cannot vote in Rajya Sabha, and if he is a member of Rajya Sabha, he cannot vote in vote as a member of Lok Sabha. So this power doesn't entitle him or the power to vote on an issue in the house she is not a member of. After that, as we move on to the next slide, and also there is one more important point, that money bills can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha, and only after the permission of the president. That is, it is one of, there are two powers of Rajya Sabha, as I told you. These two powers, setting up of all India service and declaring a particular subject in the state list as a subject of national importance. These are the two important powers of the Rajya Sabha. But there are some special powers in Lok Sabha also. It is that the money bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha by the members, and firstly the permission of the president has to be taken, then only the money bill can be introduced in the Lok Sabha. So these were all the important points about the parliament, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. I think you found this video informational, and we will look at I will see you in the next video. We will take on further topics from UPSC mains, GS paper 1, GS paper 2, 3 and 4, as well as essay paper. So whatever is important, we will take it up further and in further videos.